All right, so moving on to the next segment. I'll be sharing my fight summary on the fight that took place in the co-main event of UFC 310 between Shavkat Rakhmonov and Ian Garry. So in the co-main event between these two rising welterweights, we saw Shavkat Rakhmonov defeat Ian Garry by unanimous decision in the co-main event of UFC 310. Now, the fight that took place last night, Shavkat Rakhmonov and Ian Garry, they put together a pretty good fight in the co-main event of UFC 310. It was a chess match, but I personally scored the fight 3 rounds to 2 in favor of Shavkat Rakhmonov. So I do agree with all three judges scoring the fight 48-47 in favor of Shavkat Rakhmonov. And I do believe that the striking ability, that the strikes that Shavkat Rakhmonov landed on Ian Garry was one of the reasons why he did win this fight. Controlling the pace of the fight, you look at the control time, Shavkat Rakhmonov had 11 minutes of control time compared to Ian Garry, who had 2.5 minutes of control time, which also played a factor in why Shavkat Rakhmonov got the unanimous decision victory. I thought Ian Garry should have fought in different angles during this fight. You really saw after the first 2 rounds, he started to pick up the pace. But I thought in the first 2 rounds, if he had the same energy that he had for the second half of the fight, maybe he could have pulled out the unanimous decision victory in his own right. But I thought he should have fought in different angles. I thought he should have landed more leg strikes on Shavkat Rakhmonov to slow him down offensively. I will give Ian Garry a lot of credit for locking in that body triangle choke in the 5th round, because I was watching that in the co-main event, and I thought Shavkat Rakhmonov was either going to go to sleep or he was going to submit. So I give him a lot of credit for fighting hard, controlling him on the ground. And I give Shavkat Rakhmonov a lot of credit for fighting out of that and not submitting or going to sleep. But Shavkat Rakhmonov in the 5th round, he could have done a little bit more to me, but I do agree with the decision of Shavkat Rakhmonov winning this fight 48-47 in the co-main event of UFC 310. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, don't get mad if you're an Ian Garry fan and thought Ian Garry should have won. I think we all won last night because we just watched the future of the welterweight division before our eyes. I think Shavkat Rakhmonov and Ian Garry have arrived as future stars in the welterweight division. This is not going to be the last time they fight each other. The welterweight division is still is still an exciting division in the UFC, but we got guys like Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards, Colby Covington, Belal Muhammad, about to hit their late 30s, or they're already in their late 30s. So the welterweight division is going to eventually start to clear out one by one with these top tier names eventually going to retire soon. Meanwhile, you got Shavkat Rakhmonov and Ian Garry, who for the first time in both of their careers just went on to fight in the co-main event of a UFC pay-per-view event. Both did not shy away from the moment. Both are very game fighters. Both fighters were undefeated heading into this fight. So somebody's O had to go. Unfortunately, it was Ian Garry. But on the other hand, you have an undefeated, I shouldn't even say prospect anymore, an undefeated star in Shavkat Rakhmonov that has arrived. So both of these guys are going to be fighting one day against each other again, possibly the next time with the welterweight title on the line. I'm a big fan. I became a fan of both of these fighters after this fight. So hats off to Shavkat Rakhmonov and Ian Garry for the performance that they gave us last night. Now, I will say, after the fight, they obviously brought Belal Muhammad, the welterweight champion, in the octagon to give us a preview and to build up the fight between Shavkat Rakhmonov and Belal Muhammad. That was rightfully the fight that we were supposed to get in the main event of UFC 310 until Belal Muhammad pulled out of the fight due to an injury. So these two fighters will fight each other at some point in 2025 with the welterweight title being on the line. As for Ian Garry, I would like to see him fight the other top tier contenders in 2025 as he continues to climb up the ranks of the welterweight division. I like to actually see him fight the winner of Colby Covington versus Buckley. That will be taking place on Saturday in UFC Tampa. Another exciting fight at the welterweight division. So I would like to see Ian Garry actually fight the winner, Colby Covington and Buckley. Ian Garry was actually supposed to fight Buckley at UFC Tampa, but due to the circumstances, he stepped in and fought Shavkat Rakhmonov, who was looking for a dance partner for UFC 310. So I also give Ian Garry a lot of credit for that as well. But I would like to see Ian Garry possibly fight the winner of Colby Covington and Buckley, or I'd like to see him in the octagon against some returning welterweights that'll be returning to the sport in 2025, that being Kamaru Usman, that being Leon Edwards. So there's some money fights for Ian Garry to have. I like the kid's confidence. He's going to be a bona fide star, probably the next Ireland ace in the UFC. When you think about the greatest fighter in Ireland that came from Ireland, the UFC, that's obviously Conor McGregor. But I think Ian Garry's got the style, he's got the swagger, he's got the heart, the charisma to be the next star from Ireland in the UFC. But as for Shavkat Rakhmonov, I'll be looking forward to seeing how he fights against Belal Muhammad for the welterweight title at some point in 2025. But that is my Shavkat Rakhmonov and Ian Garry fight summary.